So this is the second part to talking about transition metals. We just finished up talking about absorption and transport of iron as an example of divalent state or multivalent states being in different environments. And for example, iron has to be in a 2+ valent state to be able to pass through a cell safely, whereas it's transported in its 3+ state with the transport protein until it's needed or broken down to form things like heme and target sites such as bone marrow. As an example of transition metals. Different transition metals, of course, have different physiological effects. So, which of the following is a mechanism used for the intestinal absorption of transition metals? The answer is D, carrier-mediated transport via specific metal transporters, such as divalent metal transporter 1 that we talked about earlier. So a little more on iron's effects. It's probably the most studied, so I felt another example would be nice. We already talked about its interaction with the globin family to transport oxygen throughout the body. Also, in the electron transport chain, it goes in between the 2+ and 3+ states to oxidize other species, interacting with electron carriers such as NADPH, FADH2, oxygen, and probably one of the cooler uses is with the peroxidases to kill bacteria and other pathogens inside of the body. So, for example, myeloperoxidase uses heme iron, the same heme iron as in the hemoglobin, and using the multivalent states and electron transfer properties, it's able to form hypochlorous acid by condensing available hydrogen peroxide and chloride ions in the environment. So that is like a small tool that these macrophages are able to use to help break down and kill bacteria and other pathogens. And we see that down here where we have our macrophages, our myeloperoxidase, and this forms our hypochlorous acid, where we can see it goes back into limiting the bacteria in the mucin. Moving on to manganese as our second transition metal that we'll talk about today. Most of these transition metal, manganese specifically containing enzymes, are found in the mitochondria, and that could be easy to remember. Manganese, mitochondria, they both start with M. We see another superoxide dismutase complex right here inside of the mitochondria, where reactive oxygen species produced from things like oxidative respiration, where you see a lot of these leaky electrons coming from the electron transport chain and the bilayer over here, leaking in, leaking out, because it's not perfectly efficient, doing things like reducing O2. So you have O2 negative, which is highly reactive. So you need these superoxide dismutase families to also utilize the multivalent state of manganese, going in between +2 and +3, to retrieve these extra electrons from these O2 species. The rest of this we don't need to worry about for right now. And then our last transition metal is cobalt. Cobalt is pretty fun, and like we mentioned before, it's already ingested in its organometallic complex, being vitamin B12. Acts as a Lewis base, an electron pair donator. This way it's able to transfer methyl groups, single carbon groups between amino acids, which is important for the formation of amino acids in the first place, and also it's able to help proliferate red blood cells. This is known. A deficiency in cobalt, for example, if you don't have enough, can lead to anemia, lack of red blood cells, and then you lead to more things such as lack of vessels to carry heme, which contains iron, to transport oxygen around the body. This is just not a good thing. I also picked this picture because this organometallic complex with cobalt right in the middle does a really good job of illustrating how it's sort of packaged and it interacts with these specifically nitrogens of surrounding amino acids as kind of like a box. And it protects this cobalt from the external environment except the specific area where it's needed. So you can't see the 3D space where these electron clouds are, but it's not able to freely interact with things such as nitrous oxide or oxygen in the blood, such as if it were free in the bloodstream. So, question 5. Which of the following statements is true? Correct answer is A. Iron's main role is to transport oxygen throughout the body. That might have been pretty easy. Cobalt may have been a little bit tricky, but it's vitamin B12, remember. Most manganese-containing enzymes are not found within the cytosol, they are found within the mitochondria. And then transition metal concentrations are loosely regulated. That statement is false. They're tightly regulated via multiple mechanisms between absorption, excretion, and transport. And these are the list of resources. And yeah, that's about it. So I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about transition metals. If you have any questions, feel free to comment.